Hey guys, it's Patrick Harlan, your blue-collar common sense working man down here in Galesburg, Illinois. The Orange Cup Side Hustle, joined up with my new friend, Tony.
Hey y'all, okay, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. So let's talk about the Safety Act that you want to repeal or modify. The Safety Act has been blamed by you for a high crime rate. In your opinion, which particular provisions of the act are you to blame for the rise in crime?
Locally, even here in Knox County, I have known for a fact of individuals who get arrested 5 times in the same day and released out of jail 5 times in the same day. There comes a point when we say enough is enough. What we need to really do is, if you're out here, you're stealing, offender, things like that, you need to be locked up. You shouldn't be back on the streets in a matter of no time. Just north of town here, the father was playing a video game, or actually stepfather was playing a video game. He didn't want to hear the baby cry. So he decided he was going to beat the baby up over in St. Francis. Before that baby was even in ICU, he was already out of jail because he was no longer a threat to the individual who he caused harm to. The man never seen a day in jail. He fled this area. He was free to go. No ankle bracelets, no nothing like that. Made it all the way down the southern part of the country here, and there's nothing that we can do about this. These are the things where they're failing us. That's what needs to stop.
All right, Patrick, do you think that the Safety Act should be changed, repealed, or replaced? What particular adjustments would you suggest to preserve fair pretrial justice while addressing the public safety concerns?
There are some good parts in there. I mean, I believe in body cameras. I believe that we need to have accountability and transparency upon law enforcement, but I also believe that we need to be holding these offenders in jail. Times it comes down to a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction or something like that. It gives a chance to rehabilitate these folks. They had an opportunity to be able to find who they were while they was in jail, come back out with possibly a job. We can train them while they're in jail, give them the resources that they need, give them a GED, or get them work skills of what they could use when they get out. We can make connections with other employers outside of jail. When they get out of jail, they have a job to go to be able to provide for their families. So those are the things I would like to see, and that's why I am so hard about the Safety Act, because there's a lot of people out here who are seeing a lot of more mental health issues going on because they can't get the medications that they need to be able to get fixed again. So here they are, but when they was in jail, we provided the medications for them. Then we found out what the underlying issue was. We had social workers available for them to be able to address their needs. When you're not doing that and putting them right back on the streets again, they become homeless. Their families are suffering. Their communities are suffering. These aren't, I don't believe everybody's bad people. We can rehabilitate a lot of people, but with the Safety Act, we no longer have the ability to be able to rehabilitate anymore. Now they're just coming back in, going back out, most likely hurting themselves, hurting loved ones, or hurting the community. We have to go back to just common sense and give them the opportunity to at least be able to succeed and have dignity. We've lost all that.
Hey Patrick, in what way would you make sure that any repeals of the Safety Act do not undermine its initial objectives of lowering social and economic, and racial unfairness in the legal system? I know you've talked about the body cameras and the transparency and accountability. What else?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, to me, that's what I see the most important thing is if you have the body cameras and we have that accountability and transparency, I don't know how much further I can go into that without having all the knowledge as far as, what the details are, the fine line details, because for me personally, I don't see how this is really doing anything on behalf of social equity or equality or anything like that, because ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody is suffering under the Safety Act. There's nobody that's winning on this right now besides repeat offenders. And I firmly believe that communities do not want repeat offenders coming back into their community again. They want, safe communities. People are tired of being robbed. People are tired of being, and their kids not being able to go outside and play. They're tired of that. Everybody's ready for change. I'm not sure that answers your question or not. And I hope that, if you want to go into detail on what direct question you really have for me outside of that, is there something in particular that you have that you'd like me to address?
I just think, even with, say, the body camera footage and things of that nature, I just went through a situation back in January with the Jakarta Jackson case where we saw the body cam footage, and you have public opinion who sees different things. I have people who are in positions like yours who say they can't say certain things, but to keep fighting, Tony, keep asking for the body cam, keep going and, filling out the FOIA requests, keep doing it. At what point do people, even in your seats, start helping us, the community, have the officers and things, the state's attorneys, be accountable? We could see something so clear on a video camera, and it's still found that the officer was justified.
Well, in a case like that, I mean, I haven't saw it and I haven't spoke, but just if I were to be your state senator, what I would do is I would definitely be addressing the public. I would be standing there and saying, listen, I reviewed this. State's attorney, if this is how you feel, or whoever's involved in this, we need to be talking to the public and sharing 100%. It's just about, because when there's questions, it's still not being answered. And if you feel like your elected officials are running and hiding from you, that's not the job. We work for you, right? We are public. We're public servants. You elect us because we represent the people. It's about we the people. It's not up to these people to think that they don't have to answer to the constituents once they get to a place of comfort, because it's not the popular thing to do. Well, you have to speak out if it's not right, and demand those who also are not speaking out to stand there with you, and do that until you get the results that you're looking for, or an answer. And if you feel like, hey, the answer's not done yet, then keep on going. But a state senator could really bring a lot of that to light. They really do have the authority to be able to bring a lot of this to the table. They can get a hold of that state's attorney, the sheriff. They can get a hold of the judges. You have that ability to talk to your mayors and your city council members and your chiefs of police. If that's not happening, then your state senator isn't doing their job. And as your state senator, I will make sure that happens. I believe in transparency and accountability, and even if it's not the popular thing, it's the right thing.
All right, Patrick, supporting law enforcement has been mentioned on your campaign website. What particular funds or resources would you give District 36 police departments to enable them to effectively combat crime?
The latest piece of legislation that they have brought forward has been in regards to our canine dogs. They're wanting to make it to where the dogs can no longer smell marijuana in the car. So if you stop a vehicle and you smell marijuana, then you don't have the right to search your vehicle any longer. Well, if that's the case, that's going to put a lot of our canines out of service. A lot of times, whenever you have the canines sniffing and they smell the marijuana, it usually hits on other things like other illegal drugs or guns. But taking that out of effect, if we're going to do something like that, I want more money coming back into our canine program, because currently we find a lot of illegal guns that are being transported, along with a lot of illegal drugs. And to replace a canine dog is $15,000. Our current state senator, Mike Halpin, informed a canine officer when he called and asked him how he planned on replacing our dogs. They're only $3,000 to go buy one. Well, you won't even buy a front paw for $3,000. These dogs, $15,000 of training to have a new dog. So I would definitely make sure that we are reinvesting back in our canine program, because that's really slowing down a lot of this trafficking. We have a serious trafficking issue where we're moving a lot of heavyweight and a lot of illegal guns. So that's one place where I'd invest a lot of my resources, that being the canine program.
How do you feel about independent investigations or civilian oversight in situations involving police misconduct?
We have certain boards that actually come in from the outside to review what has happened. I firmly believe, though, that it has to be a true independent counsel without an agenda to do your investigations. I don't want to see political bias come into this, because there is a huge defund the police movement from certain factions of the parties. And so I want to make sure that if we're going to do this, that we can verify, whether that be going through their previous social medias and stuff like that, to really make sure that who's getting on these councils are really looking out for the best interest of the communities and not looking out for the best interest of who they want to or how they want to address things.